Sean Diddy Combs was stoic as the judge handed down his 50-month sentence. That's more than 4 years.
The latest developments in the Diddy case are absolutely crazy. An inmate has already tried to stab Diddy in prison, and that was just the beginning. Now, former mobsters are saying Diddy might not make it through his sentence alive. This isn't just about Diddy anymore, this is about survival. Look, things are getting serious with Diddy behind bars, and trust me, it's far more serious than what you're seeing in the headlines.
I think Diddy got sentenced to 50 months, is that right? Unc, you know.
It said 50 months.
He won. Yo, Diddy looked me in my face, bro, and said, yo, bro, I got them. Meaning, like, I said, yo, bro, you gonna take him to the door? He's like, I ain't got no choice, but I got it. I'ma win.
What's that mean?
He won. He won, like he's the only person that officially beat the feds.
How did he beat him? He's doing 50 months.
What do you mean, yo? He was going away for life. He beat a Rico.
He was going to Rico charge.
He was
okay.
As you might already know, Diddy was sentenced to 50 months in federal prison. That's just over 4 years. He has already been locked up for 13 months, but here's the thing, the real danger is only just beginning. Most people think he got off easy, but former criminals and ex-mobsters are saying something completely different. They're saying he might not survive this, so here's what we're going to cover today. First, we'll talk about why former gangsters say Diddy is a prime target. Then, the stabbing attempt that almost ended everything. After that, we'll discuss where he's going next and why that specific prison matters. And finally, we'll break down what his life will really look like over the next few years and what he still has to face. Let's get into it. Before we talk about the dangers Diddy is facing, you need to understand how we got here and why someone is trying to take Diddy out.
Now, Sean Combs, from my observation sitting inside that courtroom, did not have much of a reaction as his fate was handed down to him. It was actually moments before that he got emotional, crying, when he spoke to the judge, which was the first time that he had addressed the court at length.
So, Diddy originally faced RICO charges and several other extremely serious federal counts. If he had been convicted on all of them, he could have been sentenced to life in prison. Life. But at trial, he beat the most serious charges. The jury found him not guilty. However, he was convicted on 2 counts, transporting women across state lines for prostitution. That falls under the Mann Act, and even though those charges might sound less severe, they still carry heavy time. He was facing up to 20 years, but instead, he received a 50-month sentence. Now, here's where things get interesting.
Now, he faced his children and he said, "I am sorry, I have failed you as a father." He then looked at his mother sitting in the gallery of the courtroom and said, "You raised me better than this." And that is when his voice was cracking and when he began to cry.
The prosecutors wanted a lot more time. They asked for 11 years or more. His defense team, on the other hand, pushed for just 14 months, which was basically time served. That would have meant Diddy walked free immediately. But the judge landed somewhere in the middle, 50 months, with time served and good behavior credits. He could be out in about 2 to 3 years. But let me tell you why this sentencing hearing was so intense.
"I'm sorry, I have failed you as a father." He then looked at his mother sitting in the gallery of the courtroom and said, "You raised me better than this." And that is when his voice was cracking and when he began to cry.
Diddy actually thought he was going home. No joke. He even booked speaking engagements for the following week. He truly believed the judge would give him time served and let him walk. But that's not what happened at all. The judge rejected his claims that the relationships were consensual. The judge called out the violence, the use and the exertion of power. It was brutal.
History of good work cannot wash away this case. He said that he used his abuse to get your way.
Diddy even broke down crying in court. He faced his children and apologized for failing them as a father. He looked at his mother sitting in the courtroom and said, "You raised me better than this." His voice was shaking, and he kept wiping tears from his face, but the judge wasn't moved. The judge said, "A history of good work cannot wash away this case."
After an inmate tries to stab P. Diddy and is stopped by the guards, based on defense attorney Brian Steele's statement and officer reports and accounts from witnesses, the following incident unfolded inside the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Sean Diddy Combs was targeted by another inmate who attempted to stab him. The inmate approached quickly, closing distance inside the unit. Officers reported seeing the weapon in the man's hand. As he moved in, witnesses described it as a direct attempt, fast, intentional, aimed at Combs. As the inmate stepped into striking range, correctional officers reacted. One officer intercepted the movement and stopped the attack before the contact was made. The weapon was confiscated and the assailant was restrained on the spot. Combs was pulled back under guard protection and removed from immediate danger. Reports confirmed that the attack did not land, but the intent was clear. Officers logged it as a near stabbing, with his attorney Steele stating in court that Combs had been nearly stabbed by another inmate during his time at MDC Brooklyn.
And then he added, "You used your power to get your way." So that's the context. Diddy beat a life sentence, but he's still facing years behind bars. And now the real problems are starting, because he's about to be transferred to a new facility, one where things will be much more dangerous for him, okay? This is the part that's going to shock you. Honestly, when I first read about this, I couldn't believe it was real.
Brian Steele claimed that Diddy's been targeted while at MDC. Certain inmates.
According to Diddy's defense attorney, Brian Steele, an inmate tried to stab Diddy at MDC Brooklyn, the Metropolitan Detention Center where he's been held. Another inmate targeted him and attempted to stab him. This wasn't just a threat, this was a real attack. Here's how it went down. The inmate approached quickly, closing the distance inside the unit. Officers reported seeing a weapon in the man's hand as he moved in. Witnesses described it as a direct attempt, fast, intentional, and aimed right at Diddy. As the inmate stepped into striking range, correctional officers reacted instantly. One officer intercepted the movement and stopped the attack before contact was made. The weapon was confiscated. The assailant was restrained on the spot, and Diddy was pulled back under guard protection and removed from immediate danger. Think about that for a second. If those guards hadn't been right there, this story could have ended very differently. Reports confirmed that the attack did not make contact, but the intent was crystal clear. Officers logged it as a near stabbing. Brian Steele stated in court that Diddy had been nearly stabbed by another inmate during his time at MDC Brooklyn.
Believed they gained status in the jail if they were to shank him. Steele then claimed one of the jail guards stopped the man with the shank. I feel like it was either extortion or a lover's quarrel. That's usually what it is with him.
Steele also said that Diddy has been targeted while at MDC. Certain inmates believe they would gain status in jail if they were to shank him. One of the jail guards stopped the man with the shank just in time. So why is this happening? Why would inmates want to take out Diddy? Let's talk about that. Here's the harsh reality. In prison, your fame doesn't protect you. Your money doesn't protect you. And in some cases, it actually makes you more of a target.
Usually what that means is, a dude like him, the worst thing in the world could have happened to him. He got revealed for who he truly is, and he loses all respect and status with inmates alike. You know, money cannot buy respect. So dudes could play up under him and act like, hey, you know, like they're trying to be in a relationship with him, and next thing you know, he's being extorted, or a dude tries to stab him, whatever it is.
Let me break down what's happening to Diddy right now. The worst thing that could happen to someone like him is exactly what's happening. He's been exposed for who he truly is, and as a result, he loses all respect and status among the inmates. Money cannot buy respect in prison. Period. But here's where it gets complicated. Some inmates might act submissive toward him. They might pretend to be his friend or try to form a relationship with him. But the next thing you know, he's being extorted or someone tries to stab him. You can't tell who's real and who's dangerous. Now, I want you to hear what a former mobster said about this, and honestly, it gave me chills.
Guys in the mob did some terrible, terrible things. The murders were gruesome and violent and painful, and they served a purpose. They were meant to terrify people into staying in line, right? Compare that to the things that you've heard alleged from the witness stand and testimony under oath from a lot of these young women and some of the young men who were his assistants. Compare the guys in the mob to the stuff you're hearing alleged against Diddy.
If we did that in the mob, we would be killed for it. We would never touch women and children and stuff like that. So that's against our rules, our principles. We would never get away with something like that. There was a guy, Roy DeMeo and Gas Pipe, who became serial killers, killing for no reason, and they were killed. So, I mean, if he was in the mafia, and we knew what he was doing, he would have been killed. There would be no trial.
A former mobster explained the difference between mob violence and what Diddy did. He said that guys in the mob committed terrible acts. The punishments were gruesome, violent, and painful, but they served a purpose. They were meant to terrify people into staying in line. Now, compare that to the things alleged from the witness stand. Young women and some young men who were Diddy's assistants testified under oath. If people had done what Diddy allegedly did in the mob, they would have been killed for it. They would never touch women or children. That's against their rules and principles. They would never get away with something like that. If Diddy had been in the mafia and they knew what he was doing, he would have been killed. There would have been no trial. Let that sink in. Even criminals have a code. And what Diddy did breaks that code, but there's another side to this story.
You know, the overriding factor there, I believe, is he's a guy with a lot of money. And I'll tell you, this happened to me when I went in there because of the profile I had, because of the way they wrote me up. You know, I had everybody and their brother inmate trying to do a deal with me when I got out, you know, a business deal. They need money. You know, because of the fact that he's a money guy, I think he's going to have more friends than he will enemies.
Michael Franzese, a former member of the Colombo family, explained something interesting. The overriding factor is that Diddy is a man with a lot of money. Franzese experienced something similar when he went to prison. Because of his profile and the way he was perceived, everyone and their brother tried to strike a deal with him when he got out, a business deal. They need dead money. Because Diddy is a money man, he's likely to have more friends than enemies.
And in a medium security, normally nobody's looking to shank you. When you get into the higher institutions, when people are doing, you know, a ton of time and there's no way you can benefit them, then you got a little more problem. But in a medium security, I don't think he'll have an issue at all.
In a medium security prison, normally nobody is looking to shank you. But when you move into higher security institutions, so here people are serving long sentences and there's no way you can benefit them, you face bigger problems. In medium security, however, he shouldn't have a major issue. He can actually be too much of a benefit to inmates who are always looking for something. In their minds, he could be a golden ticket to SO. It's a balancing act. Some people might want to hurt him for clout, while others want to use him for money. Diddy has to figure out who's who. Let me paint you a picture of what Diddy's life has been like so far, because it's a long way from private jets and penthouses.
Well, everybody's different. I'm sure he went back was somewhat disappointed, so he's probably, you know, dwelling on that. Hey, it could have been differently. Maybe I should have gotten out. Maybe he's a little bit upset, a little bit angry. I get it. All those emotions come into play. But right now, you know, he's got to get ready. He'll spend a couple of weeks there until they designate him to a new facility. And he'll be a lot better off in prison than he is in the federal jail. You know, at least there you can move around and you got some freedom on the yard and things like that. You know, my thought is he'll collect himself, get himself together. You know, there are ways for him to improve himself. You know, they have the Bureau of Prisons now has a program, and if you're allowed to get into that program, you can knock as much as 18 months off your sentence. Now, I don't know if he'll qualify, if they'll allow him to go in, but he'll probably start to think about, okay, what can I do to reduce my time now? That's what everybody thinks when you get in there.
After his sentencing, Diddy was feeling disappointment and anger. That makes sense, right? He thought he was going home, and now he's going back to a cell. He'll spend a couple of weeks in federal jail before being designated to a new facility. Even though prison is generally considered better than federal jail, it's still prison. It still comes with limited freedom and restricted movement, but let's talk about the reports that have come out regarding his daily life.
I wanted to say all the setbacks are taking a toll. He's anxious, depressed, and out of shape. The bravado he was clinging to is gone. His family is all very worried about him. There's a growing sense that he has very little to live for right now. What the fuck? Like, this makes no sense to me. The legal team will continue talking. Brian Steele claimed that Diddy's been targeted while at MDC. Certain inmates believe they gained status in the jail if they were to shank him. Steele then claimed one of the jail guards stopped the man with the shank. I feel like it was either extortion or a lover's quarrel. That's usually what it is with him. He's just seeing it from now, you're not able to kind of, you know, have your way with certain people, you know. So many shebangs that can get you where you gotta go in prison.
All the setbacks are taking a toll on him. He's anxious. He's depressed. He's out of shape. The bravado he once clung to is gone. His family is worried about him, and there's a growing sense that he has very little to live for right now. Here's something that really stood out to me. He eats chips out of the bag all day long. Sometimes he would tell people, it's not worth going on. There's nothing here. There's no more hope. But then he thinks about his family. He realizes he cannot bring more suffering on them that would only add to their trauma and his appearance. It has changed dramatically.
Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. And now's a really good time to remind you that P. Diddy has denied the allegations. I mean, first they came out in civil lawsuits, denied all of those.
A reporter named Elizabeth Milner described him as astonishingly thin. There was a video from back in September of Diddy playing hacky sack in Central Park. He looked healthy and energetic. Now, he appears shockingly thinner. And you can expect that after being inside a federal detention center for a couple of months. It's a far cry from the luxury lifestyle he was living before. His hair has gone from dark to gray. He looks defeated. He looks like he's aged 10 years in just over a year. This is what prison does to people, it breaks them down. Diddy is no exception. So, where is Diddy going from here? This is actually a really important question, because not all prisons are the same.
Diddy requested to choose his own prison. He's asking to do his 4-year sentence at Fort Dix in New Jersey, like he's booking a room at the Marriott. Apparently, he told the judge he wants to go to Fort Dix Federal Prison because they have drug treatment programs and he's trying to better himself. He claims he wants rehab, wants to stay closer to his family, and wants access to RDAP, Residential Drug Abuse Program.
Diddy requested to choose his own prison. Yes, you heard that right. He's asking to serve his 4-year sentence at Fort Dix in New Jersey. It's almost like he's booking a room at the Marriott. That he told the judge he wants to go to Fort Dix Federal Prison because they have treatment programs, and he's trying to better himself. He claims he wants rehab, he wants to stay closer to his family, and he wants access to RDAP, the Residential Drug Abuse Program.
And if the judge agrees, Diddy could reduce his sentence with programs and be in a safer environment. But if not, we all know he's stuck wherever they put him.
If the judge agrees, Diddy could reduce his sentence by participating in programs and be placed in a safer environment. But if not, we all know he'll be stuck wherever they decide to put him.
And this might be a good move for Diddy because Fort Dix, isn't exactly a vacation resort, but it's way better than the maximum security prison, with more rehabs and more programs. Now, I want to ask y'all this.
Now, this might actually be a smart move for Diddy. Fort Dix isn't exactly a vacation resort, but it's far better than a maximum security prison. It offers more rehab programs and more opportunities. So, what's Fort Dix really like?
Basically, in a 3-floor building, there's no cameras, and the cops' office is on the first floor, and they have lookouts on the staircases too. So it's not even like prison. It's not. And you would go to other buildings and go visit people. Like maybe my friends in another building that I was at another prison with, I'll go pull up on them, go hang out with them for a little while. And everybody has the phones out. Like you're in a 12-man room. They have 2-mans too. You get in a 2-man or 3-mans. But it's basically, like an army barracks. Everybody has cell phones. It's not even.
It's kind of like you're in like the military, kind of.
Yeah, pretty much.
A former inmate described Fort Dix as more like army barracks than a prison, with small rooms, cell phones, and the ability to visit friends. It's more relaxed than MDC Brooklyn, but danger still exists. Some inmates believe Diddy was involved in Tupac or Biggie's deaths, which could make him a target. Michael Franzese said the stabbing attempt at MDC proves the risk is real, but he rated Diddy's danger level a 4 out of 10. Placement in a monitored facility is key. Rapper 6ix9ine sees Diddy's 50-month sentence as a win because he beat the federal RICO charges, a rare achievement. The reality, Diddy went from luxury lifestyle to prison, facing threats and challenges. The stabbing attempt shows this isn't gossip, it's life and death.
One officer intercepted the movement and stopped the attack before the contact was made. The weapon was confiscated and the assailant was restrained on the spot. Combs was pulled back under guard protection and removed from immediate danger. Reports confirmed that the attack did not land, but the intent was clear. Officers logged it as a near stabbing, with his attorney Steele stating in court that Combs had been nearly stabbed by another inmate during his time at MDC Brooklyn.
Whether Diddy ends up at Fort Dix or another prison, the dangers remain the same. Former mobsters agree on one thing: money and fame mean nothing behind bars. The question isn't if he'll face more threats, it's when. With about 2 to 3 years left to serve, that's a long time to watch your back, wonder who's real, and live in fear.
What do y'all think? Should celebrities be able to choose where they serve their time? Or should it be random like anyone else? 50 definitely gonna have something to say about this. He gonna say something. It's a lot of people that wanted Diddy to do way more time than he's doing. I wanna know what you think. Jump in the comments.
So, I want to know what you think. Will Diddy make it through his sentence safely? And another question, should celebrities be able to choose where they serve their time, or should it be random like everyone else? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, I really want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.